Okay guys, good morning. Arizona Bushcraft here. Today, what I've got in my pocket is a Southeast Asian type bird snare that we're gonna set today. We'll go over that, but I'll show you this thing is just super light, easy to carry, easy to make. I've got a loop on my cordage. This one is going to go over the end of our spring pole. Then I've just got it wrapped around the rest of these components. So let me go over this. So this is our snare end. It slides, open and close a lot easier obviously than the other end. We have our trigger already tied in it, and then the loop on the other end just to go over the spring pole. Then we have a forked stick similar to a wishbone. Easy as that. Just a straight stick. This will be our bait stick. We'll go into more detail about that, what can be done with it. Just a regular little sharp stake. I kind of flattened one side of it, and you'll see why in a minute. Then what else you need, which you don't really have to carry with you, is just 3 or 4 little toothpick sized twigs, which I didn't have them in the kit because obviously they're all over the place. Okay, step 1, I've located a decent spring pole, so we'll test it. We're gonna pull it down, test the weight of it. You don't need a super tough spring pole on this one because obviously it's only for birds. And this little trap, let me clear a spot for my camera there. Sorry, I'm not the best cameraman, nowhere near that. So okay, we pull our spring pole down, got it here. I'm going to put my piece of string on it, cinch it down, then we're going to pull it down using the trigger to see where it comfortably wants to be. Because if I force it to go this way, it's going to pull sideways on my trap. If I force it to go the other way, it's going to pull sideways on my trap. And I think right here will be a good spot. Let me get some of these little weeds out of the way. They're little tiny guys, but when they're in front of the camera, they look like trees. Okay, so we've got our spring pole located. It's a good weight. I don't think it'll have too much force because we're going to push our little wishbone stick into the dirt. We've got the ends sharpened. We're just going to push it down in there. Try not to break it. This whole thing is kind of a delicate little trap. That being said, that's the hardest part about setting this trap, is because the parts are so small that if you're like me and you break everything, you'll just tear it up trying to set it. And then if it's not strong enough to withstand our spring pole, see, that will hold it. Okay, so we know that's strong enough there. Next step. Okay. I'll clear it out and try to get you guys the best view as possible. Then I move it, or I'll move the camera once I get it set. So, okay, this is going to be our bait stick. It's going to hold our trigger stick, and then the back end is going to be anchored by this stick here. So we'll just get an idea of where that needs to go. It's been a while since I set this trap. We might have to do it a couple times, but that's okay. Practice makes perfect, if you're doing it perfect to start with. So this guy is going to go under here like a lever. Our bait stick goes from there to there. Okay, now it's set with the spring pole holding tension on it. what we're going to do, open up our snare and cover the area where this bait stick is going to be. This is where the little toothpick sticks come in handy. You don't always need them, but you can use them, and you just put little tiny ends of them in the dirt to hold the noose open. Which, like I say, that's just kind of an extra to make sure the bird doesn't move it or the wind doesn't blow it. Up here where I'm from, the wind blows a lot, so when you set those, you want to angle them in so that it still holds the noose, but you don't want them to catch the noose as it goes off. Okay, let me get this. Let me turn you around. Look at me. Okay, here is our bird snare. So we've got a wishbone stick. The trigger system goes up and under it, so that creates our fulcrum right there. Whenever the end of this little trigger stick drops, it releases the spring pull. There'll be nothing to hold it. So the only thing holding it now is this bait stick, and it's anchored back here by this one. So you just create that little bit of tension between point A and point B. I'll set it off here and you can see, because the idea is to put the bait on this bait stick here. Then when the bird comes along, they go peck at it or even try to grab it, and it pushes swoosh. See? And that had a pretty good amount of force to it too. So what we'll do is we'll reset it here. Let me see if I can get you guys propped up where I can. You wouldn't believe it, but I do own a tripod. I just don't use it. So I will prop you up with a stick. Yeah, there you go. Probably won't be able to see me anyway, but let's try it again. So we've got our wishbone stick there. I'm going to take the trigger stick. It goes underneath, then up at an angle. Okay. The bait stick goes from the anchor to hold the trigger stick in place. That's really all there is to it. Make sure your string does not go under the wishbone. Because if you run the string between the wishbones like the trigger is, then whenever the spring goes up, it would probably still catch something, but it would have to run under that, and it would pull the wishbone out of the ground. And I'm not sure what it would do to a bird, but I don't think that would be very nice. Okay, so then we just set it again. Now this one was made for educational purposes only, because in most of the United States, catching animals in any kind of snares or homemade traps is illegal. So if you want to practice this, check your local laws, be sure you're in the right. Don't go set these in the city park and be catching pigeons to post it on your bushcraft YouTube and Instagram and all that. It's not a very good idea. So now, traditionally, your bait stick, you want to wrap it with cordage about here and split it from this end down. Then you can whittle out a little space in the middle. You wrap it with the cordage to keep it from splitting all the way. So split it from there to the cordage, whittle out a spot, and you can tie seeds or whatever bait you're using. Then it'll be split, and you can put the seeds in and tie it back together like that to hold them, so the bird really has to peck at it to get to it. So we're going to set it off again now that you've seen it set. Then I'll probably reset it and we'll get it from another angle. So here comes the bird. He's going to come along, peck, and that's got quite a bit of force to it. See, there's that much travel till the spring really gives. So I've got about 2 foot of spring in there. So okay,